Music's biggest streamer versus rap's biggest name. A new class action lawsuit is sending shockwaves through the music industry, claiming that Spotify allowed billions of fake streams linked to Drake, the world's most streamed artist. According to reports, the suit accuses Spotify of turning a blind eye to massive streaming farms, fake accounts and bots that allegedly pumped up play counts, warped payout numbers, and robbed real artists of their fair share. And while Drake himself isn't accused of doing anything wrong, his name sits right at the center of the case, the poster child for what critics call the dark side of digital fame. In this video, we're breaking it all down: the claims, the evidence, what Spotify says in its defense, and what this could mean for the future of music streaming. Because when billions of plays and millions of dollars are in question, the truth behind the numbers suddenly matters a whole lot more. To understand this lawsuit, we need to talk about streaming fraud, one of the music industry's biggest open secrets. Here's how it works. Artists get paid per stream, just a fraction of a cent every time you hit play. That means more streams equals to more money and more chart power. But where there's money, there are always shortcuts. Enter the streaming farms, networks of bots, fake accounts, and VPNs that can simulate millions of listens from around the world. With a few clicks and a bit of coding, those fake streams can turn an unknown track into a viral hit, or push an already famous artist into record-breaking territory. Now, Spotify, the world's biggest streaming platform, claims it actively fights this. Their business model depends on trust, fair payouts for real streams, and credibility with both artists and advertisers. But this lawsuit argues otherwise, that Spotify has ignored large-scale manipulation because inflated numbers mean more engagement, more buzz, and ultimately more profit. And at the center of this controversy sits Drake, the face of streaming dominance. He's the most streamed artist on Spotify, with billions of plays and global recognition as the platform's crown jewel. So when data in this lawsuit allegedly ties a huge portion of suspicious activity to his catalog, it instantly raises the stakes. Drake hasn't been accused of wrongdoing, but his sheer scale, his numbers, make him the perfect case study for what happens when streaming success meets digital suspicion. The lawsuit paints a pretty shocking picture of what it calls systemic streaming fraud. According to reports, the plaintiffs claim that billions of Spotify streams, many of them linked to Drake's catalog, can be traced back to automated accounts, VPN networks, and suspicious listening spikes that defy real human behavior. Here's what that means in plain English. Investigators say they found massive clusters of streams that appeared to come from the UK, but when traced digitally, many actually originated from servers in Turkey and other unrelated regions. In some cases, a single IP address allegedly generated hundreds of thousands of plays in a matter of hours, something that simply isn't possible under normal user conditions. The lawsuit doesn't accuse Drake of orchestrating or even knowing about any of this. His name is being used to highlight how far the problem may reach and how Spotify systems might have ignored the signs. Essentially, his immense streaming success, billions of plays, hundreds of chart records, becomes the example used to show how the alleged fraud distorted the entire ecosystem. The plaintiffs argue that fake plays artificially inflate top artists' visibility while pushing smaller, legitimate musicians further down the rankings. And in the end, it's the real artists who lose out on royalties. For Spotify, that's a serious charge. If proven, it suggests that the platform's biggest bragging rights, its top streamed songs and artists, could be built, at least in part, on manipulated data. Unsurprisingly, Spotify isn't taking these accusations lightly. In response to the lawsuit, the company flat out denies that it has ever benefited from fake streams. Spotify says it actively invests in advanced fraud detection systems, using algorithms, data science, and constant monitoring to detect and remove artificial activity. Spotify insists that stream manipulation hurts their business too, and that they've already removed millions of fake accounts over the years. But for critics and for the artists behind the lawsuit, those words ring hollow. They argue that if billions of fraudulent streams are slipping through, Spotify's so-called safeguards aren't working nearly as well as advertised. And the stakes? They couldn't be higher. Financially, this case touches billions of dollars in royalty payments, money that's divided among artists based on play counts. If fake streams inflate numbers for the biggest names, that means smaller artists. The ones grinding in studios and uploading songs without PR machines end up getting less from the same pool. Reputationally, Spotify's image as the world's most trusted streaming platform is on the line. For high-profile artists like Drake, even the mention of their name in a fraud case can spark questions about authenticity, even when they've done nothing wrong. And beyond that, this case could set a legal precedent for how the streaming industry operates going forward, forcing platforms to prove that their numbers are real, transparent, and fairly managed. Because in the streaming age, credibility isn't just a buzzword, it's currency. This lawsuit isn't just about Spotify or Drake. It's about trust in the entire music ecosystem. Streaming was supposed to level the playing field, a place where talent, not marketing muscle, could shine. But if bots and algorithms can fake what's real, the industry faces a deep crisis of authenticity. If these allegations hold weight, it could open the door to more lawsuits, more artist unions demanding fairness, and possibly even new payout models that reward verified engagement, not inflated numbers. For fans, it forces a tough question. When you see a song with 1 billion streams, does that number still mean anything? And for artists, especially smaller ones, it's a reminder that even in the digital age, fame and fairness don't always mix. Whatever happens next, one thing's clear. The fight for transparency in streaming has only just begun. And this case might be the spark that changes the soundtrack of the entire industry. As big as this story sounds, there's still a lot we don't know. We don't know how much of the alleged fraud will actually be proven in court, how many of those streams were truly fake, or how deeply Drake's catalog is involved, if at all. We're also waiting to see what Spotify brings to the table. The data, the defenses, and whether more artists or lawsuits follow in the coming months. Will this push the company to tighten its systems, or could it spark a full-blown reckoning across the streaming world? That's the part we'll be watching closely. And as always, these are allegations, not proven facts. Until the evidence is on record, every claim is still just that, a claim. But one thing's for sure, the next few court filings could change how we define success in music forever. So, do you care if your favorite artist's success comes from legit streams? Or does it even matter in a world where everyone's chasing numbers? And if the platforms are the ones profiting, should they be held accountable when the system gets gamed? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure to like, subscribe to Papaya Room, and hit that bell icon to stay updated on all things Hollywood.